Hey, 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 welcome back. This is Emily Herb at Wit Stop It. And we are back with, oh my gosh, I can't forget how to say your name.
Uh, Avani
Avni,
Shahlenis.
Avni. We are back and we are just like in it and we're just going to get started. I'm super pumped to have her back. I told you that this was going to be a part two and she's going to do a little bit of a reading for me, or I'm not sure how to describe that, but we're just going to jump into it because she has an opening and we're just like, yes, let's do it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the starting question. So, what just happened for the people who were not here right before we were talking, is that, we were talking about your podcast and how you want to, grow. And it all starts, by the way, with desire.
Hmm.
So my starting question will always be like, what do you want right now? Right? And then I can tune into, but like, what opened, what started showing up for me as an intuitive is the imagery of your podcast is like very white and clean and pristine, and it's almost like divine. Um, like I'm seeing like kind of diamond sparkles on it. And I don't know if you ever noticed that about your imagery or not. Um,
White, I did. Diamond sparkles, I envision with I believe in God, so I envision that like diamond sparkles. But white, I've had someone a couple years ago after my dad passed, she was able to connect. And when she first started talking to me, she said like I have this white aura. I have this like bright light. So I've heard of white before.
yeah. Yeah, and your voice and everything. So like, when I got you actually have a very activating voice, which is kind of interesting that you're doing a podcast, right? So this is obviously, you are on the right track, but like your voice is something that activated me. When I first heard your voice note, I was kind of like, I'm a mom of two, like, I'm like, ha ha ha, trudging through life. So, your gift might actually be, so I don't know how your coaching containers work, but I wonder if you do Telegram or not, and if you coach people with your voice, like when you're present and when you're available, your voice will make the biggest difference for people.
Wow. Okay, my
I-
voice. Okay.
So I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Yes, I have. Yes. So I have definitely gotten that in my coaching container. I do the group coaching, I do the live calls because that's just the kind of coach, like how I like to show up for people. And and before I started my business, I used to work with patients in person. And I would have so many people tell me these things about, like, I would evoke a lot of emotion from them, and they would just like I would just see it on their faces, like these like revelations or aha moments that they had, and that was just from a conversation that we had. So yes, I have heard of that before, but I don't know if I put that together in my business though. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, well, you've been healing people with your energy, just your presence, just literally just your presence, and you walk in the room and you create that healing. To me, all right, it's almost like you're like an angel god. Like I'm seeing like a goddess image of sorts. I don't know what your purpose is. You're definitely, I mean, you're feminine divine, but like um yeah, so I don't know. So let's see. What is your biggest desire right now?
My biggest desire is to help women heal in their with their relationship with their body, and to feel enough, to have their body feel enough no matter where they are in life. Healing, I think, because I've been on my own self journey of healing and I recognized how important that is. And so I really want to plant seeds of awareness for women. Like that's so
Mm.
that like I want them to be awoken. I want them to start thinking for themselves. I want them to question all of the things that they've been told. I'm really big on like female empowerment. I don't know if that has been something in a past life of mine or what, but like female empowerment is like a really just like gets me going and fired up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the energy I was seeing around the goddess, and I actually don't know much about you, so it's this is I
You know,
mean,
you
this
don't know
might
really, yeah, anything
no,
about
I
me.
don't know anything, but and so this is literally the first time we've talked, or second. And maybe for your listeners, it's like, well, duh, we know this about Emily. Um, so I'm just thinking, yeah, this is great. But I heard, I mean, this is amazing. This is actually easy for you.
Mm,
That's this is like the easy part.
hmm
There is, when it comes, I feel like there's and this is why it's your gift. That's why I feel like you're on the right track. This is easy for you because you actually don't have to do anything for it. See, I feel like women, uh, and this is maybe women, this is humans, but like there's the part that comes easy to us that we just are it and we don't
hmm
have to do anything. And then there's the part that we kind of came here to on this planet in this lifetime to transcend, transform, to move to the next level
hmm
around. And that is usually behind a few of the layers. It depends on where you are, right? Like
hmm
something that you're like trying to solve that like um yeah. Anyway, so I can see some of those layers for you, and like what I saw, you said you have a son. You have
I
one
have
son,
two sons. Yeah, two
two
boys.
sons, and so I saw like a couple layers. It's something to do with your son, something to do with your husband, relationship with your husband. I'm not saying there's anything wrong or anything like that, but like that, taking that to the next level might open that one up for you as well. Um, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's just what was coming through. Nothing. I wish we had had a little more conversation before,
I
but hey, this is.
Yeah, so I have been like trying to really figure out like just even like when I think about like what's my purpose and like what's my calling and how can I serve and like I keep hearing people tell me like when I was speaking to someone and she's like, "Oh, like I kind of worked with her a little bit and it was different than what like with body goals and things like that. It was more like healing and doing like the mind work and beliefs and things like that and frequency. And when she goes, "Well, Emily, what do you do like in your business?" And I was like, "Well, I help women hit their body goals without restriction." And she's like, that's all you tell people? That's what you do? Like, and I've heard so many people tell me like, "Emily, you're so much more than just macro counting." And I'm like, "I know, and I do this in my program, but like I don't yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't is am I making any sense right now?"
Yeah, no, that's it's a starting point, right? Like for me, I help women. The starting point is dating single women. It comes so easy and naturally to me,
hmm
but it's also kind of like, and I can help. I mean, and that's, yeah, that's the easier part. But the
Yeah.
part that like really juices you up might actually be something different. And that was what we can go into that right now, just
Mhm.
because that's what I feel like we can go into. But the part that juices me up, and that's where I have struggled as well, because, and I think for women that are multidimensional, that are finding a little bit of trouble with like finding where they're supposed to be going, and know that there's more to them than just whatever's on the surface. Like
Mhm.
for me, like I used to work in corporate and I was really good at the data stuff. Like I was a professional negotiator.
Cool.
And yeah, and I used to buy data. Okay? That was my job.
Wow.
And
Okay.
now I go into like multi-dimensional healing. I can do past life healing. I can do childhood trauma healing. I can do, what else? What did we write down? I literally have just been writing down stories after stories of my clients. Like this one woman, she was having heartburn and issues with her in laws, well, with her husband, but really came from in laws. But really, really, when she came into my mastermind, we went in and we healed something from her 11-year-old self that was like in the front of a stage and dealt with something. I don't remember all the details, but we healed it. And then she comes back with like, oh my God, like I have no issues. Like I went on a trip with my in-laws, and this was like months after we ended the container. She came and she told me, right?
Hmm.
And I have that happening with me all the time, where clients will like come a year later. They're like, oh yeah, I met my man, and here we are, Christmas, like celebrating. Or they have the breakthrough they have in the time frame, and then they have more, right? Like
Hmm.
another client of mine, oh my God, I have so many stories. I'm like looking at my page and I'm like, uh, but like another client of mine, she came in, which one was I telling you just now? I don't know which one I was telling you, but like, I'll see things in my sessions. God, where did I go? Where did
It's
I go? Where
okay.
did I
It happens. I get there too.
go?
Um,
Well, okay, so I'll tell you about this man, because I've also worked with some men. I try not to, because sometimes it maybe triggers my own stuff, so I'm like not 100% sure how to always help them. But I was in corporate and I used to work with this guy, and somehow many, many years later, after I quit, I reconnected with him, and it just so happened that we talked about some stuff, and he was like, yes, I think you and I should work private together. And it came to, I don't even know what exactly we had set out to work on, but he was having some issues with his wife. And at the time, I think the economy and this and that, and he wanted to switch out of corporate and go into creating his own business. And then I get guided. So that's part of my work. So even though I'm trained as a sound healer and a theta healer, that's just a starting point. Oh, sorry, now I remember. Macros is your starting point. That's what we were talking about.
yes. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll come back to that. So with him, I just was guided to play the bowls, tune in, and I didn't know anything about his private life or anything like that. And um, we, I got guided to his heart, and I said, I'm seeing something in your heart, and I describe everything to him. We come out of healing, and he goes, how did you know that? And I'm like, how did I know what? He goes, I had a pacemaker put in my heart when I was 3 years old. And I was like, what? I didn't know.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? And yeah. And I was like, you had a literal freaking heartbreak. So I was talking to him about like energetic heartbreak. And he goes, no, there was a literal freaking heartbreak. And I was like, okay. And so we got into it. And really, it came down to like receiving love,
Oh,
you know?
wow.
Yeah. And so, yeah, like some of my clients, I've tuned into their sort of witchy past lives. So, earth past lives, right? 1800s, 1700s, like that. I had a client who came in because she was interested in energy work. And she was like, I'm drawn to you. I need to work with you. Let's go. Because she had done a lot of transformational work before. And I was like, all right. She literally came into an event I was hosting for like 5 minutes. And she's like, I gotta go. Here's my email address. Can you email me? And I was like, all right. And then she like signs up for my mastermind. And I'm like, okay. And so she's like, I was like, why'd you sign up? Sometimes I literally have to go back to people and be like, why did you sign up again? Because
Hmm.
we ended up with this result, and I don't have a before story for a lot of people. And so, yeah, so she comes in, and then we had a one on one, and we go into some ancestral things, and what it led me back to was like slavery times. There was energetic cords from there that were like being passed down, and so we energetically released that. And I'm like, we end the session, I'm going, okay, I don't know what that means, but okay. And then she ends up meeting this man, like, and she was like,
Wow.
oh my god, this is the man. And she literally never spoke about dating the entire time that she was in the mastermind. Never. She would always just talk about, like, I don't know, a whole bunch of other things. Like, she was talking about pleasure and like deepening her, like living her life. And she's like, I got a new photo shoot and everything. 4 months. That time my mastermind used to be 4 months. And like a week after the mastermind ended, she goes, yeah, I met this man. And I was like, girl, what is going on? How did you meet this guy? Right? But there was a whole energetic connection between that past life, her relationship with her father today, and just
Mm,
like we kind of unraveled. It's like we pulled on one thread and everything came coming down, right?
yeah.
Um, and then one last story I'll share about a client who like literally traveled in like, and her energy was, every time I tuned in with her, I'm like, girl, where are you? Like, where in the ethers are you? So
Mhm.
one of the first things, and she literally used to traverse in like all kinds of multiverses, like not just this universe, but like multiple universes. Like, so one version of her lived in one dimension, one universe, another universe, and I would just constantly be calling her back. and
Was she
and then I
aware
would,
of that, that she was in all those different universes?
no, no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
But she was always like, I'm ADD. I'm
Okay.
ADD. And I was like, oh yeah, no shit, you're ADD. Like,
You're all
you're,
over. The universe is here.
yeah, right? And sometimes it sounds cuckoo to
Yeah.
me also, right? Like, as
Yeah.
I'm saying this out loud, and I was telling my husband, and a couple days ago or last week, I had a client, and she goes, are you making this up? And I'm like, girl, no. And I actually felt silly telling her that. And I got off the call, and my husband is also an energy healer.
Mm.
He is different than I am. We've been soul family in different lifetimes together. Both my sons are soul family from different lifetimes together. Like, I know this information. Like, nobody can be like, you're crazy. I'm like, I don't care. You can say whatever the heck you want. Now, do I go podcasting this everywhere? No, I don't. This
Yeah.
is like the first time I've actually said this out loud, right?
That's
My
what
own
happens here.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And that's who you are, by the way.
Yeah.
You, Emily, are somebody who is bringing forth this kind of conversation. So again, if miracles are happening in your podcast, like I said earlier to you, like, congratulations, you've been running a podcast for over a year. Like,
Mm.
that is not for easy
Yeah.
hearted people. And that's part of your mission with the voice, right?
Hmm. Yep.
um so yeah, I don't go around telling people that. My whole family will never, like, doesn't know any of this. My blood family, at least.
Yeah.
They all think I'm crazy for what I
Yep.
do.
Hmm. Yep. They probably would. Yes. I used to think, and honestly, truthfully, like if we would have never had this conversation a couple years ago, because I would have thought this chick is crazy. But like when you start to be that term like awoken and you start to question things and you start to stop just accepting everything as truth and you go down these like different rabbit holes, you're just like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to life. And I don't think you're crazy. I'm so intrigued and I have a bajillion questions that I want to ask because I'm like, past lives, do we all have past lives? Like, is that something that like we all sign up for? And like how do we know if we have a past life? Like I have a friend who does similar work. I met at BBD Live and she said that she has a past life and she told me about it and it was really traumatic and it came into her present life here and that was things that she had to heal so that she could like move forward in her life and so it's so intriguing to me. Like it just like it blows my mind.
Yeah. And this is a really great point that, like, do we all have it? Do we all need to be going down them? Honestly, no. You do
Hmm.
not need to be doing that. Do we all have them? I believe so. Not always. I will tell you a couple things about that in a second. But the only reason to do that today is if you have things that you feel constantly stuck around,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I didn't choose to go down this path. Like, this was not for, like, oh, I got a lot of time in my hands. Let me start doing this,
Yeah.
right? Almost
Yeah.
nobody's doing that. I was literally just looking for solutions for my problem because I was dating for years and I was like, why is this not working out? So I
Hmm.
shared about my story in the beginning, in the previous episode, that I was engaged to a guy, called it off, and I was just shell shocked. I was like, how did this happen? How is it that this did not work out when it works out for so many people?
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? And so I started going down and I hired a dating coach, an energy healer, pleasure coach, and if you want to hear all about the sex part, like, go to the previous episode. We went down that rabbit hole.
We went balls deep, ladies, and it was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And I still, like, I'd done a lot of work, almost, I say 5, 7, 10 years of that, and I still hadn't, figured out why this romance part wasn't working out because of a lot of my own personal trauma. Most of my trauma has come from, yeah, like, current life. So I have done a lot of work on my current relationships with my mother, father, brother, sister. So, like, we do that in my mastermind as well. But my other
And okay. Yeah, talking about your
my
trauma.
sole
Yeah.
purpose, yeah, I was talking about my trauma. So once I healed that, that brought forward the soul purpose. And another spot where I started going deep was that after everything I had done, I thought I was done with healing, right?
Hmm.
And then I got a Hashimoto's diagnosis, and I'm like, what the heck? And so that was like another level of healing. So I did physical healing, right? I hired a health coach. But then there was like going down that whole spiritual path, which has everything. So Hashimoto's has everything to do with the thyroid.
Hmm.
And thyroid is everything to do with your voice. It literally sits in your voice. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like me coming on podcasts now, we're starting to do more of that, is a part of the healing. And I've done
Oh,
enough healing for me to feel safe enough to come and say these things that
and
people will
do.
not think I'm crazy about.
Hmm.
You know?
Sorry, my youngest just got home. Yep. Yep. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So that was like, so you're saying that we don't have to go down all of these rabbit holes unless there's like a constant problem that keeps happening for us. And then we want to like go down. There's like a layer, right? There's different
Yeah.
layers that you go down. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because, I mean, time is always, I mean, we all have limited time. Like, we're here
Hmm.
to enjoy, right? Um, so yeah, that was like my sort of starting point. Most women, that's why we need a starting point.
Hmm.
And then we can keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. But my starting point, and that's where most of the women that I work with come, is romance. Because that was
Okay.
my starting point, so I
Yep.
know where to go from there. But, this man, yes, he was in my world for like 3, 4 months of private coaching, but like, because I didn't have a group experience for men, and I'm not sure I'm ready to do that yet. But he somehow found energetic alignment with me. But most of my clients are women who are looking to heal their relationships with men and masculine.
Mm.
That's been my whole jam. Like, when I had my dark night of the soul, like, awakening around in 2013 after my breakup, was like, why is this happening? Like, I was, which was with men. like I was dating, like dating was my job. Like I used to go on like 3 dates a week and think that this is how I was going to find my person. And I was accomplished in a lot of different areas of my life, and like job wise I was like, okay, we got it kind of going. And then I started exploring all this work, and everything started to open up. Like I started making double, triple the money. And, the year I had my son, I had my 6 figure salary, my first son. I had my 6 figure salary, but we also called in like multiple 6 figures from investments, house, like we bought and sold in a 9 month period of time when that wasn't the plan. And that was all spirit led, right? Like
Okay.
intuition led. So part of this journey has been to open up my intuition even more. So a lot of times now, practically, right, I have practical tools that I've learned, and I also now teach my clients of like how to protect your space, how to create miracles, like, you know, yeah, like I mean, again, we can go down another rabbit hole with that one about using spiritual guidance to
Mhm.
guide your life.
Mhm.
And we will be faced, like, yeah, I think for me it's been a lot of like, well, face your trauma, girl.
Mhm.
Face your fears, not face your trauma, face your fears. And anywhere I have been unwilling, and part of me, okay, yeah, so this is, I'll just share a little bit about, where the voice part comes in for me, is because I have an idea of like past lives where I was a witch. I was uh well, look at that. I want to say crucified, but like I was burned,
Oh,
or
like the
something.
Salem witch trials and
Yeah,
things like
that
that?
one.
Okay,
Yeah,
that part of it.
to
Okay.
make a point of do not do what this woman did, right? So I have trauma around that because I spoke up and I said some stuff, and I don't know all the details, and you don't
Yeah.
really need to know all the details, to be honest. You just need to have like a, sometimes it's better to block it out, right?
Yeah.
And until you're ready, you won't be shown some of this information. So I don't want people listening to this going, oh my God, what past life is in, right?
Right.
That's why my work is very practical of like, we start with like, what do you want? And
Mhm.
where are you struggling with that? Right?
Mhm.
And, and then, whatever wants to come through will come through. And sometimes, like, I'll work with clients for a few months, and then I'm like, how has this never come up before? Because it wasn't ready to come up,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But the
I
only thing that will be there is like, well, I gotta work with her.
Mhm.
She's got something that I gotta do, and that's how I like kind of went down this path myself. Like for example, when I met my dating coach, I met her in a bathroom. Okay, we were in a conference for personal development, kind of like something like BBD Live,
Yep.
and I was in a bathroom, and I was like, who is this chick? Why is she so happy? Like, what the heck? She got up and she introduced herself in the class, and in the room, in this big ballroom, and she's like, I'm happily married. And I'm like, you bitch.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck, right? And then, but I was so drawn to her
Mhm.
energy because it was
Mhm.
like, what does she have going on there,
Mhm.
right? And that's how I kind of ended up with the dating coach. And then literally, and she was like, 6 months, we'll find you your partner. My husband walked into my life less than 6 months in.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is also a beautiful story. Like, we're going to share this in our event, but he was not looking for a relationship. The night we met, he was actually with someone he was, kind of friends with benefits.
Talking with. Yep. Mhm.
No, no, no.
Oh,
Like, they were literally in a friends with benefits situation.
okay.
And I was like, yeah, this is not my guy. And within 24 hours, I mean, he was already kind of breaking up with her. And within 24 hours, he was like, this is it. This woman is my woman. 3 weeks later, he moves from the Netherlands to be with me. Everybody in his life is like, are you crazy? Like, what are you doing? But he's like, she's the one. She's it.
Wow. I didn't realize that's how you guys met.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
how long have you been married for?
We've been married for, we're actually coming up on 10, 7 years we've been married, 10 years together. And he still loves me. We are even more in love than we ever were before. But it took me, and like he's a Dutch guy. I'm
Hmm.
Indian. I was looking for an Indian guy. This guy wasn't my guy. I
Yeah.
was like 100% sure about that. But he actually met all of the things that I truly deeply desired, you
Mm,
know? And so, yeah. So anyway, and he's a healer. He's like,
hmm.
a master healer, master sensuality expert, like all of that. And I wanted that more than I even realized
Mm,
that there was this point when I was like, no, no, I'm only marrying an Indian guy, right?
hmm.
And my dating coach actually, she asked me, she's like, why? And I was like, well, I want someone who's family oriented. And I was like, and when I met Voucher, it was like, uh, I talked to him, asked him a couple questions, and I'm like, this guy's more family oriented than any of the Indian men I have dated in the
Hmm.
last year or two, right? And so that kind of broke open my ideas of like, oh, who people are. And so much we get fed so much crap about like, oh, well, this is the right way to do it and this is the
Hmm.
wrong way to do it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
Yes, especially with women. I feel like there's so many things that we've been told, like, this is what you need to do. This is what, like, a good wifey does. This is what a good girl does. And it's like, no, that's actually not even true. And that's where, like, I love the question, like, who says this stuff is true? And I love pushing back on societal norms and the things that we grew up with and just challenging those beliefs. And yeah, I totally get that.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to go into?
well, I mean, so it's funny how you said, like, I really resonated with you where you said, like, your starting point was relationships because that was like your starting point for your journey. And mine was definitely my starting point was like macros and like working on my body goals and things like that. And then like it went deeper as you talked about, like your healing goes in deeper levels. And I'm so glad we did have this conversation because like I've been really kind of like back and forth. Do I still do the whole macro thing? Because I know like there's so much more to that when it comes to like macros doesn't heal your relationship with food and with your body, but it's a good starting point. Like it's a tool like you talked about. Like there's tools that you use, there's tools that you teach, but then you do that inner work that actually creates like that transformation that people are seeking, that women are seeking. So I feel like I did get some clarity from that. Like that like makes some sense to me, like how you brought that up. Like Emily, your starting point is macros, but like there's more there, and the healing part, that was really interesting how you kind of brought that up too. And my voice, like that has been a really big thing for me because when I grew up in a household. I've since forgiven my dad and done a lot of healing with him, and he did pass away. And my therapist told me, like, you can actually work on your relationship even when they're not here. And I get that
Mhm.
now. Like, I totally do. And I'm in a beautiful spot with him. But growing up, I had to be quiet. Like I had to, in order, my dad grew up in a very traumatic household. And so he was always dysregulated. Now that I look back, I understand it. And so he just couldn't handle our big feelings and especially my older sister. So I just realized I was like, oh, I actually have to be really quiet. Like I actually have to be perfect. Like I can't ruffle feathers. And as I started my journey, I was like, no, I have a voice and I need to use my voice and I need to share the lessons that I've been learning. And that is part of my purpose. And so it's cool to me how you talked about I have an activating voice and how like when I sent you those voice memos, how that like brought something out of you. And so that's really cool. And especially how I've been kind of going down more of this podcast journey of, I don't know, it feels right. So yeah. I don't know if anything else was coming up for you when I was talking, or was there? You're shaking.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, yes, yes. So the whole time, so this is part of my gift, right? Just
Hmm.
I'm explaining it as I'm going to share with you what came through, just so that because, I don't know, people can't see me shaking my
Right.
head
Yeah.
like crazy person on this as we're recording this. But one of the things I kept getting drawn to when as an empath intuit, I can feel things, I can see, which is clairvoyance, to
Hmm.
see, right, in my mind's eye. Feeling is like, well, if you hear things, it's like clairaudience. But and there's the other clairs, you can look it up. Um, as you were talking, so it's like, what I'm hearing your question is like, okay, but so I get that I'm not just macro, so what else am I?
Hmm. Hmm.
What else, where else do I go? How else do I expand? This is, by the way, my expertise of like kind of bringing forward something that's in the background that wants to come forward, right?
Hmm.
That's in your blind spot. And I'm shown, I hear, I see. And what I saw was your womb space.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm like being drawn to your womb space. So it's very interesting because um I saw your, like, how the shape of the uterus is the shape of the uterus, right? But I
Hmm.
saw this like big heart, like a red heart in your uterus. Um which tells me the interpretation I'm hearing is like access your womb space, access what your womb wants to create. And this is where, yeah, so there's like a birthing. The other thing about, is it the vagina? So the vagina too, if you look at the anatomy of the vagina, it's actually very similar to the anatomy of the voice.
Mm.
Sorry, your throat, right? What's in your throat. I don't know if you've seen those photos or not. Like you can look it up. Like this is you'll find an image. The anatomy of the throat very similar to the anatomy of vagina, like the vulva
Okay.
opening, and very similar to the anatomy of the uterus, the fallopian tubes, the ovaries, like that. And so it's like the message here is like, you want to know what your next level wisdom is. It's in your body. You already have it. You already know that it is in you. You The access point for you to access those other realms of what that actually looks like and what you're supposed to bring through your voice
Hmm.
is going to come from your womb space. So it's actually going to get created in ways you have no idea at the moment.
Mm.
You have no idea at the moment. This is, again, wisdom coming from outer realms, even, or your past life wisdom, right? Because you can access past lives from a perspective of like, well, this is what's wrong in my life right now, and let me heal it. And trauma is a way to get to that. But like, but where are we going?
Hmm.
Right? If you ask the question, where are we going? That's where the soul purpose work comes in, right? That's what I end up guiding women towards. But for you, what's coming through is like, that's your next level of like, the message that wants to come through is in the unknown. It's right around you. It's
Hmm.
right around you. In fact, it's like when I said that, right around you, it's like probably in your household. It's probably in your, like, literally in your concentric circles around your house, around the people and the communities that you interact with. It'll come through for you. What we need for that to actually come through is spaces where we can listen.
Mm.
See, a lot of times where information is there, but if you're not listening to it, it's not going to actually come through. So like, and this is why I created Soft Rich Woman. My mastermind is where we drop in every week. Uh, I play the bowls, and we heal whatever's on the surface, but like we give ourselves the opportunity to tune into the deeper wisdom of the body,
Hmm.
like deeper wisdom that wants to come through your soul. That's why I said it's easy. Whatever you're doing right now, you literally walk into a room and you heal people, Emily. Like that's you. But what you don't have right now is like, what is that? How do I communicate that?
Yeah. Yes.
Right? And how do
Yes.
I get
Yes.
paid for that?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Huh. That's so interesting. Oh my goodness. So I already have it within me. I just have to really listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I help facilitate some of that listening, and I can do that for you if you want as well. But this is the message that's coming through. Like,
Mm.
because what you have to, like, like we were talking about the orgasm, right? It's great. I'm not saying it's bad. The orgasms that we've been taught how to have, they're great. But like there's like so much depth and richness and a multi-dimensionality to an orgasm that can go on for 15 minutes, for example,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of, okay, that's another thing. A lot of my downloads have come when I am connected to my body.
Mm.
When we do so this is where the downloads part. So that's what I meant to say. So your body is telling me, but you get to listen when you're connected to your body. We just don't know how to do that. Or we may know, we just don't, we have to be activated in a way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's been something I've been trying to do more of, especially after BBD, is to do that like I play the heart mind coherence music
mm,
and I just kind of like lay there, do some deep breathing and I don't know, I just kind of try to listen to what I need to hear and yeah, it's definitely newer for me. I never really did that before. I didn't really I mean, when I look back at past experiences, I do definitely believe I was led by my heart in the things that I did, but I think somewhere along the way I stopped listening to my heart and I kind of closed that off. And so now I'm so much more open to receiving downloads and looking for them and hearing them. So yeah, that's it's just like I just want it now. Like I just want to hear it
yeah.
now. I want someone just to be like, "Emily, this is what you need to do." And I know it doesn't work that way. I know it doesn't. But I mean, I
Well,
think it's
I have some ideas, and again, one question you can do is when you're listening to your meditation, you know, ask the question, what wants to come through? What is
mm,
my beyond macros or beyond what I'm already doing? What wants to come through?
okay.
And then do some like writing.
I love journaling. I journal all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, from
And
that space you can do some writing. And then,
okay.
we can also look at like from a trauma. Okay, this is where the trauma healing part becomes relevant.
Hmm.
Maybe there's something there, right? Like when you and I haven't tuned in quite yet, but like, this is what it would look like to tune in to be like, okay, so what is the block
Hmm.
between you and accessing your soul's wisdom that's right there? And sometimes it's a matter of literally removing some of that. And that might be related to your dad, might not be related to your dad, maybe a past life, maybe something else wants to come through. Um, Maybe just a clean out too,
Hmm.
like we do, Voucher was the first one who did it, but we do a sexual soul fragment retrieval, like basically cleaning out your system when it comes through, when there's like, old sexual partners, or maybe even
Mm.
debris or anything like that, right? Like I couldn't tell you I'm getting that for you, but like it could be that. It could not be. I've done all of this with other clients,
That's interesting.
right?
So like old partners, old sexual partners. Did that come up for you for me, or was that just a random example?
No, I kind of feeling that might be. I have to
Mm.
hundred. I can't 100% say yes, but I can't 100% say no either
Okay.
because it came out of my mouth, and I'm like,
Yeah.
huh, that's interesting. Why would I tell her that? I
Because
wasn't trying to.
it's just weird. I just had a dream the other night about someone former. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, okay, it is so that it is meant to come through. Um, yeah, we could do it because it came up in your womb, right? Like the
Hmm.
heart came up in your womb. So I'm like, what is there? So this is how when I'm in session and I focus, um, I'll ask questions. I'm like, so okay, how do we go? Where do we go from here next? And then I'm shown something,
Yeah.
and I have clearing commands. It's easy. It's really meaning easy, right? I will say
Doesn't
that to my
sound easy to
clients.
me, but yeah, it's your gift. Yeah.
I say that in my mastermind, and my clients are like, "Oh yeah, that's right, that's easy."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, "Okay, okay, sorry, I get it, I get it." But like, I live with the healer, okay, and him and
Hmm.
I will talk about. So I'm like, "So we do this, 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 and this." He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, great. I'm gonna go do it." Right? It takes 2 minutes of a conversation, but for people who've never experienced that, it's like, "Huh? How'd you get there?" Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
absolutely.
curious. I'm curious what's like I'm curious what's sitting in your womb space right now. Like what wants to be cleared so that you can listen. See, this is where we release the noise.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. And so we remove the noise. And this is like sometimes this is the experience that people have when they work with me. They're like, "Yeah, I don't know what happened exactly." And then they'll be like, "Oh, this miracle happened and that miracle happened and that miracle happened." Or something random shows up and they're like, "I never thought I would go here."
Hmm.
This one client I had, this is like one of my best stories. She goes, I was in therapy for 4 years, and you and I, what we did in 3 months was like more than I have done in 4 years of therapy. And I was like, whoa, whoa. And
I
she
can
actually,
I can believe that. I can
yeah,
definitely believe that. Hmm.
yeah. And I was like, what are you talking? This came up when her and I were recording a podcast episode on my podcast. I was like,
Mm.
wait, what? I didn't even know you were in therapy for 4 years. She goes, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And you know what we healed?
Hmm.
When she signed up, we talked nothing about her brother. But because I knew about her father passing.
Hmm.
And so I thought, okay, maybe it's something to do with her father. But it all came down to her childhood relationship that she thought she needed to take on with her brother.
Mm.
And they had just split up their business. And she was like kind of in this stuck spot, like, well, where do I go from here next? and and then I don't know what it was, but it was like 1 or 2 sessions, and we released it. And then she reports back how well she found a partner, she found her mate,
Hmm.
which was not something we talked about at all. She ended up like she had an Airbnb business that like totally took off. Like she started delegating all this work, and like all these miracles are happening. She's like,
Wow.
yeah, here I am. And she goes, my partner is wondering how I'm like sitting at home and having orgasms at 11 a.m. And she goes, yeah, because I don't need to be there doing the hard work like I thought I had to
Mm.
before.
Hmm.
And she comes on a call with me. It was, I think, maybe call number 5 or something. She goes, I'm happy. And I'm like, what? She goes, I'm happy. I finally feel like I'm happy. I feel like a weight got lifted off of my
Mm.
shoulders. And, in the world of accomplishment, it's like, okay, whatever, happy. How
Hmm.
important is that, right? Because it's like, well, how much money did you make?
Hmm.
And and it's like, yeah, and she didn't necessarily hit her goal while we were working together, but I know now she is,
Yeah.
right? And this
Now,
was
right.
like 2 3 years later. where she is hitting her goals. So, but like empowered women, happy women do things that are unexpected.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
just do things that are unexpected. She had never been in a relationship. She's still with the same person, you know?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, it was incredible. I was like, wow. Right? Like that's my favorite story. And then my husband lost that podcast episode and I was like, "What the heck? Go find
What?
it
Yeah,
again."
you better freaking find it. That's gold right there. I mean, if that's not a great client testimonial, I don't know what would be. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
amazing. That's
Anyway, yeah.
awesome. Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't normally do this, and just for the women who are here, I don't promote this one. But if you are interested, I, and you want to work with me, you're feeling a call, I do something called a Power Week where
Mm,
we go into one session and then we have a little follow up session a week later. We have a Telegram in between, a Voxer or whatever in
hmm.
between to just talk about what's coming up. And yeah, I'm happy to offer Power Week.
Okay.
I can send you
Yeah.
a link for that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Please do. Because that might even be like a great way, like, if they're just feeling called, they're interested, they're intrigued, and they're just like, I kind of want to know more. And I don't know if I want to do like a whole mastermind yet or like a bigger container, but that could be like something, a great way to like dip their toes into it.
perfect.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I will definitely add
No,
that.
that's right.
Well, girlfriend, this was like mind blowing. I am 1,000% going to re-listen to this, to both of the ones that we did. And I know I'm going to pick out so many more things. But I just want to say thank you so much. Like, I'm so grateful for you, like, coming on here and being vulnerable and sharing, like, your gifts too. And I think that's so incredibly brave and so amazing. And I'm so glad that you said yes to this.
Yay!
And I really, really appreciate it. So, I will make sure you'll give me all the links for your website and where to find you, and then also if people want to do that like power call, we'll add that in there as well. So
Okay.
yes,
Thank you
thank you.
so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And honestly, and to my listeners, like if you guys have questions, like let us know. And if you want, like if you have more things that you would like us to talk about because you're just so intrigued, like give us the deets and we can always come back with a new episode as well. So all right, guys, I hope you have a fantastic week. And remember, life is always happening for you. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Bye.